Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. It is no small coincidence that we are in the first day and first week of spring. And that's going to lead right into my guest for the show. And Dorothy, for 16 years we've done this show, and this is the first time the Pinehurst Garden Club has been on the show.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
Bad on me, right?
Oops.
I mean, think about all the organizations that we've had on the show. So we're going to more than make it up, because the more I've gotten to know about the Pinehurst Garden Club, the more I was looking forward to the show. And having lived here now for 25 years and having first come here way back in 1979, do you know how many people I have met and had conversations with who have eventually moved here, who described to me their first visit ever to the village of Pinehurst? Mm-hmm. And it was magical. And part of the magic is due to the 114 members and the 2 guests that I have, because what they do in the village is turn the village into a postcard. And people, especially from the Northeast and the Midwest, they come down here and their jaws drop. It's almost like a Norman Rockwell picture that they're walking into, or a Currier and Ives postcard. Yep. And I am being joined today by the president of the Pinehurst Garden Club, Sue Hughes, and the plant chair coordinator, Rosie Heinz. And first of all, I want to thank you both for coming in and not holding a grudge against me for not being on, but I promise you we can make this a habit. Where we live is a beautiful environment, 4 seasons of the year, and sometimes we have so many different botanical associations and clubs. But tell me a little bit about the Pinehurst Garden Club, because you've been an organization, I think, since 1980?
Actually, 1981
1981
was the beginning of the Pinehurst Garden Club. There were 10 friends that I believe just sat around their kitchen table one day and said, you know what, we should be doing more for Pinehurst, and we want to get involved. And we all like flowers, and we all like beauty projects. And they decided at that time to create the garden club. So they started with 10 women, and I believe these 10 women were pretty prominent Pinehurst residents at the time. Yep. I wouldn't be able to give you their names exactly, but they said, we're 10, everybody go invite someone else. Right. Became 10 more, so they started with 20, and then I don't know how the extra 4 got in.
They agreed on 4 more that they all were willing to invite.
Okay.
So that's how it got to be 24.
Okay, so it grew over the years.
It grew over. That was the very first branch in the garden club, and from there, it just grew and grew and grew. And we are now 5 different branches, all of maximum of 24 members at one time, and it's amazing what these groups can do in the course of a 9-month, 10-month season.
Yeah, I want to get into a conversation about the 5 branches a little bit later, but I'm imagining it's 1981, and we had this radio show, which we did not. I'm guessing that the guest would have had a Southern accent, and you do not, Sue.
No.
And Rosie Heinz, you do not either. So tell me, where are you both from? How did you get to Pinehurst, and how did you get involved, and why did you get involved with the Pinehurst Garden Club? Sue, I'll start with you.
Okay. Well, I'm a transplant from the Northeast, Bergen County, New Jersey. My husband and I met in New Jersey, married, raised our children there. Our last location was in Michigan, so we transplanted from Michigan, retired here. I would have to say my love for Pinehurst came after my husband's love for Pinehurst, because pretty much everybody that gets down here for the first time comes because of golf.
Right.
And he did. He
Right.
came because of golf, and I was not a golfer when we
Where did he play up in Mawa? I'm just curious.
well, we used to belong to, well, we still do belong to the Tuxedo Club up in Tuxedo,
I've played there.
New York. Have you?
Yeah, I was a member of the Knickerbocker Country Club in
Okay.
Tenafly, and I had played in golf matches in Tuxedo.
Yeah.
Quite not too far from Mawa.
Yeah, it's not. It's a quick 15-minute drive up there in
Yeah.
Orange County, New York.
New York.
So, yeah, it's a beautiful course. We love it.
How long have you been here in Moore County?
We've been in Moore County since 2018.
How did you get involved with the garden club, and why, other than your love for gardening?
Well, I was asked by a mutual friend. She said, "Are you interested at all?"
Yeah.
And I went to the first sort of what they call a prospective member meeting. You
Right.
can go and see what it's all about. And I said, you know what, this is exactly what I'm looking for. A way to make friends around something that we
Love to do.
love to do. And it was just a perfect match.
Right.
Yeah.
Rosie, good morning.
Good morning.
And I want to ask you, where are you from originally?
We're Buckeyes. We're from Ohio, born and bred, and we got down here kind of like a lot of other people did. We were gifted a weekend at Pinehurst. My husband was a golfer. He golfed at a club up in, we were from an area just outside of Akron, Silver Lake, Ohio.
The Zips.
The Zips, and LeBron James' hometown. We knew LeBron James when he was 12 years old.
Is that right?
And he was a star back then. And
Yeah.
so we were gifted a weekend, and I knew nothing about Pinehurst. Of course, he did. Anybody who really golfs knew Pinehurst was Mecca. And it was one of those beautiful. It was the end of March because I'm a school person, so we had to go spring break time, and but it was one of those just amazing March weekends that the azaleas were blooming and the camellias, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And we had the nice, and they put us up at the Carolina. I mean, we got the whole treatment.
So you were one of those couples that I could have said I had met who saw Pinehurst for the first time and your jaw dropped.
Exactly.
How
When
pretty
you
it
see
was.
that sign, when you drive up to the Carolina, it was just, and we were so pampered. It was just fun, and we played golf. And at that time, I was playing a bit more than I am now, but not serious. I played on a once-a-week league at back home 9-hole league. But we played together, and it was, I was terrified to go on. He had to play number 2, of course, and I was absolutely terrified. I talk about being intimidated by a golfer.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun, and everyone was so nice.
How did were you recruited also to the garden club by a member?
Actually, well, yes, and I think most of us are. Most of us, it's word of mouth by a friend who you meet here or who lives here. It happened to be some Ohioans that we knew, and she was very active in it. And my biggest concern about, and we have kind of a fun story about how we ended up living here, because that was, back in 95 or something. Anyway.
Okay.
And we weren't ready even to be thinking about retirement, but he fell in love with the place. So in '97, we came back for a weekend ourselves, and he had to look at property. You're a real estate guy, so you I'm sure have taken many people around that said, "We just love it. Show us where."
Yeah.
Where.
Yep.
And I was a little reticent because I don't golf seriously, and I don't play tennis. And I worked long weeks and long hours and didn't really have a whole lot of, and I'm not a gardener, At that point, I didn't even know about the garden club. But the real estate agent that took us around said, you can't imagine how many couples, one is a golfer and one isn't, and there's so much to do here, much to do, and there's so many other places. Long story short, we looked at houses for 2 days, the whole weekend. And he wanted to buy every single one. And of course, some of them were way too expensive. Some of them needed renovation. And we're full-time workers back up in Ohio, and we got into a little bit of a discussion about that on the way home. We were barely speaking to each other by the time we got home. And as we got towards home, I said, you know, what we should have done, we like that area around Lake Pinehurst, and I'm a water person. And I said, we should have looked at a place on the a lot on the water, and we could build our own, and you know, just have it for now. And if we decide not to, when it's time to retire, we'll sell it. And that's what we did. And we held on to the lot for 24 years. Got tons of calls about people who were interested in buying it, and we just kind of hung on. We'd come down a few more times, but we were really had gotten so much busier. And in 2014, I retired, and so 2015, I decided to be a construction manager.
Okay.
And we built our house.
Well, you're more than that right now.
I feel like it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you are now the plant chair coordinator. We're going to talk about that. But Sue, tell me, just big picture, the purpose of the club and the mission, if you would, because you have 114 or so volunteers now. It's quite a large organization, and it's just in Pinehurst. This is just Pinehurst.
Correct.
That's an important distinction. There are different clubs in different areas, but we're at the time of the year right now where everybody is sort of rolling their red carpet out, because Pinehurst, Moore County in the spring is just a beautiful place to be.
It is. I
Yeah.
mean, driving here, one of my favorite trees in the spring are the red buds, and they're all popping this week. It's just gorgeous right now, and I can see the buds on the dogwood trees are going to be next. And when you see both of those together in the springtime, you're right, it's magical here in the springtime.
And you're not just doing this because you love gardening. You're a nonprofit.
Correct.
You actually raise monies, and you create scholarships, and there's a philosophy behind the monies you raise and where you earmark them.
Exactly. So the plant sale is the only fundraiser that we have annually. And the proceeds from all of it, the plant sale, goes towards all of the beautification projects that we agree to fund, as well as scholarships for a second-year student enrolled at Sandhills Community College's horticultural program. And on our anniversary, 40-year anniversary, we decided at that time, we initially started out with just one scholarship, and for our 40th anniversary, we upped it to 2 scholarships that we give now with these funds.
Okay. The plant sale, the annual plant sale that you mentioned, is on Sunday, April 27th, from 9 to 3.
It is, and I think Rosie would like to talk a lot about that.
Because, I mean, there's a plant sale, but right now, I think this past week, the pre-order period just kicked in. And tell me about that.
Okay. So we pre-order, we have about 20, well, not about, we have exactly 27 varieties, items for sale on pre-order. Everything from smaller pots to flats to planters and hanging baskets that are pre-made. And we take orders now. Those are guaranteed then. If you order between now and April 10th, we cut that off on April 10th. And the April 27th date is the day that people come and collect. And we load them up from the...
Do you start these plants from seed?
No.
Okay.
We work, well, they are started from seed, of course, but we don't. We work with a greenhouse, a plant farm, Greenhaven Plant Farm out in Carthage.
Right.
And he has been marvelous. And we've worked with him for a number of years. We had a couple of different ones in the early years, and as we grew, they couldn't really support the size that we came. And the early years, they used to pre-order the plants, and they used to bring them over to us, to a location actually by the fire station, first in the village many years ago, but then later on over by the fire station, and they would pick their plants up there.
Okay.
So we'd been doing that, since 1990. I think the first plant sale was 1987 when they sold pansies and mums. That was in the fall. That
Well,
was
you,
the
you
very
sell you
first
sell a
one.
lot more than that now,
We surely
We sure do.
right? We're going to come back in the second set. I'm interested in the 5 branches that you have. Why you call them branches, and to me, when I think of branches, I think of IBM or I think of a large company. But I want you to break that down for me. We are speaking with Sue Hughes, the president, and Rosie Heinz, plant chair coordinator for the Pinehurst Garden Club. You're in your, if I'm not mistaken, your 44th year, and we'll be right back.
But thank you for that.
Welcome back to our second set. Our guest is the Pinehurst Garden Club with Sue Hughes, the president, and Rosie Heinz, the plant chair coordinator. And yes, there is an event coming up on Sunday, the 27th of April, from 9 to 3 at the Greenhaven Plant Farm in Carthage. And it's their number one, or their big fundraiser of the year. And proceeds benefit the Sandhills Community College Horticultural Scholarship and local beautification programs. In the village, let's just go back to the village for a second, because it is one of the prettiest walking tours anybody who comes from out of town could take. Break down some of the things that you're doing in the village, because I think no matter where you look, if there's a pot on a corner and there are floral flowers in there, or if there's a bed, some of the pretend you're the tour guide, where would you send me?
Where would I send you? Well, I would send you right straight downtown.
Okay.
To the Donald Ross statue and flagpole.
Okay.
And you could start there.
That's okay.
And if you just did a 360 turn in that area, pretty much every garden that you can see from that point has been planted by a volunteer and member of the Pinehurst Garden Club. In the spring, we plant vinca and begonias and the summertime annuals.
Right.
And in the fall, we are responsible for planting all the pansies that overwinter and make Pinehurst so pretty.
If you're doing the planting, are you also doing the designing of the arrangements?
No, we do not.
Okay.
The village of Pinehurst selects the locations. The beds are there, and the
Gotcha.
the opening is for us to plant them in there. They have picked the flowers. They've approved the flowers, and the design has been created by the village. We're their worker bees.
Yes, it's our labor
It's
that
our
helps
labor.
get it. And not all of it. I mean, they do even more around, but we help them quite a bit. Even the big planters that you see, one of our branches handles those each season. In the wintertime at Christmas, we hang 80-some swags around the village with the bows and the greenery. So we really are helping hands for them. They have a wonderful landscape person who chooses which variety of flowers they're going to do, who helps redesign. I want to say design because it was a Manning design way back when. And one of the very first areas that had a garden, a landscape architect to do it. And so that's kind of how that's how the garden club got involved, because these women, they had all of this design, and it was not filled.
It was not
You
being
know,
implemented.
it needed to be improved, and they wanted to see a I don't want to say a formal garden, but more of a manicured garden area where there were the pathways, where they were flowers around the pathways. So their actual first fundraiser was to start something called Memorial Gardens, which is right in the middle of Tufts Park, right in the middle of the village. And
Right.
as Sue said, as you look around to your left, you'll see Tufts Park. It's by the library. And that's when they started raising money to start creating and working on that.
So the village of Pinehurst, they should love you. I mean,
They do.
We think they do.
they should love you. I mean, you are helping
do.
them implement what they visualize that creates. I mean, you're the final touch. That
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
an artist painting a blank canvas. The blank canvas being the beds, and you go in and you do
You're
your
very
thing.
kind, but it is a collaborative. I mean, and they do appreciate us. They
Yes,
are
they do.
wonderful. We enjoy working with them so much. We have somebody that sits on their beautification committee
Yeah.
from our board.
Yeah.
So we have some input as far as that goes, and they show up when it's planting morning. They bring the coffee and the donuts, and
That's great.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful.
And the other thing is, I know over the years since I've been there and doing the planting, how many people that drive through the village during the time that we are planting,
Right.
roll down their windows,
Right.
and they say, "We love this. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate what you're doing," and that makes us happy too.
If she did that in Mahwah, New Jersey, they would make a citizen's arrest. Why are you talking to me? Who are you? It's a completely different orientation in Pinehurst,
Maybe
isn't it?
not Mawa.
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
And I think that's what attracts people here, and they come down to visit, and everybody waves to them as they walk by.
Right.
I can't walk my dog all the way around the neighborhood without stopping to say hi to everybody.
You both mentioned something that's also a key ingredient to the success of the Pinehurst Garden Club, and you both mentioned the networking aspect of it. My guess is you've made friends through the club, and relationships and associations they just grow as you go.
They do, and each of our branches, the 5 different branches that we have,
I love this 5 different branches. We're going to talk about that, but go ahead.
we are all interconnected. We're not just we're not required to stay within our group, let's say, our branch. We have joint meetings together. They share information with us. They went and visited this particular program on mushrooms or camellias or whatever. It was great. You guys should go do that. And so we're sharing information with one another as well.
And the nice thing
Rosie?
is, because we have branches and we're not trying to be one very large group, because Pinehurst is a big area,
Yeah.
you get to know those people really well, and they become sisters.
Yeah.
And part of what we do, we tell new members, and we hope that people who are interested might give us a call or get on our website and
Right.
and consider joining. We have about 4 or 5 openings right now in different branches, but it's as much social as it is educational
Right.
and service, and that's what makes it fun.
And so many of the people who decide to call Pinehurst home are not native Southerners anymore. So you're meeting people from the Northeast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and it's like a melting pot.
It is. And everybody that comes from all of these other states
Yeah.
do not realize the unique growing environment that we have here in the
Right.
Sandhills. And it's a challenge for somebody who always thought that they were a really good green thumb and they can't get things to grow in their yard and they're frustrated. And we're a great resource to help them for
Is
that.
that
with
that due to the clay or is it due to the sand?
It's the sand mostly.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people are used to some really rich soils, and
Right.
you know, and they're also used to the freezing in the wintertime. A good chunk of really, really cold weather where your bed sleeps, and
Yep.
here it just kind of rests, and that is a challenge for gardeners. So we love to help people learn about that.
Yeah, Rosie?
I think there's 3 reasons that women tend to come and join us. One is
Okay.
that we're from all over,
Yeah.
and they want to. That's what's fun about coming to Pinehurst when you retire or when you get to that point. Is you're looking for new people to meet and new friendships. They are avid gardeners and want to, be part of that. And then there's those who say, I don't know much about gardening. That's me. But I wanted to learn more, even if I wasn't going to have big gardens in my lot is not all that large, but I wanted to know what I could do with what I had. And so the educational part of it, just going to some of these programs and listening to people who, like Sue, who's down the street from me, who shared bulbs with me last spring, which, by the way, didn't get planted yet, but they will. And that's wonderful. So the garden club is different things to different people, and
Right.
it's, for me, it has been a lifesaver because I've always been very busy and
Yeah.
an organizer, and clubs need organizers too. So
Sue, isn't it great that she came from Ohio? Because I think their gardening season starts in June and ends in
Maybe.
August.
It does. Well, that's what I said. That long winter sleep.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right. What happened last year during the U.S. Open? Did you have? Did the village come to you and put a lot of extra, or did the USGA come in and take care of the whole thing?
Yeah,
they
it was a
really did.
whole
We
100%
offered-
USGA
So they
program.
they passed.
Shame on them.
Yeah,
I
we
hope-
offered. Now they
I
had a
hope they're
lot of
listening.
volunteers. They used tons of volunteers, and a lot of our people
Right.
were volunteering.
Okay.
But they had their own landscaping plan and their budget, and
Yeah.
they pretty much, and they did the same thing to the village. I mean, they took over. They decided what was to be planted and when it was going to be planted.
They did, however, at the end of the USGA, at the end of the program,
Yeah.
they did reach out to all the garden clubs
Yeah.
and offered up all the plant
the plants.
material.
Oh.
And it was all donated to the organizations to disseminate to places. You couldn't use it for your own personal garden. You had to agree that whatever you picked up had to go and be planted
Nice.
somewhere else,
Nice.
which was great. So that was nice. The stuff did not go to waste.
Since the USGA is now here with their permanent home, I bet you every time the Open comes around,
Yeah, we'll have it.
the Pinehurst Garden Club I mean, it's going to be on their radar, and they may as well take advantage of such a strong workforce. I mean, when they hear 5 branches, they're going to be enrolled. We're going to come back in the third set. I want to talk to you about the scholarship program and some of the organizations that have benefited from your work over the years. Our guest is the Pinehurst Garden Club for the whole hour. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our third and final set with the Pinehurst Garden Club. Dorothy, I forgot to tell you, in the 16 years we've done the show, I can never remember an organization being so conscientious about preparing for the show. You'll notice it on the podcast with all the beautiful pictures.
Oh, yeah.
But the amount of information and the preparation was really impressive. And we hope that we'll have them back on again the next 16 years, right? So the proceeds, well, we'll just announce again that the plant sale is on Sunday, the 27th of April, from 9 to 3, and it's going to be at the Greenhaven Plant Farm. And that's the culmination of the pre-sale activity that just started this past week. So you're in your Super Bowl of fundraising right now.
Exactly.
Right.
We're in our, right now is the time to pre-order, and you'll see posters. Posters will be all around town, beautiful posters. They got redesigned. This year we did some new things. Our website, which is been up for a number of years, but we've really improved it, and it's pinehurstgardenclub.org. And this year you can go on, see the flowers that are for pre-order, and you can actually order online and pay for them with a credit card. So that's brand new this year, and that has really, we think, helped get the word out and get some extra sales. So that 27th is the actual pickup day where people will come and drive their cars through, and we will have 60 volunteers loading their cars with the choices that they made. And I also wanted to add that day, Matt Whitaker, who is at Greenhaven, he is the owner of Greenhaven Nursery, who has been wonderful, and he is the one that has started these plants for us and created these baskets. On that Sunday, if you come whether you come to pick up plants or not, he's opening up for us, and everything else that he sells beyond that, we'll get a percentage of that as well.
Oh, that's great.
So if you can't pre-order, or you don't see anything on the form that looks like it's what you want, he has shrubs and trees and herbs and vegetables. A lot of he's got a new section for native plants and pollinators, which we think people will be interested in. Even if you just need some fertilizer or you need something for your garden, we'll get a percentage of all that on that Sunday. And that's really good of him to do. We really appreciate that. He has been an amazing person to work with.
All these funds that you will be collecting, you have a distribution system set up where it's sort of like pay it forward to organizations where you're trying to cultivate the love for gardening through. I'm looking at a list of the organizations that you've earmarked. If you want to talk about some of them, because they're so recognizable to me.
These are all organizations, grassroots organizations, that have requested funds from our grant funds.
Yeah.
We have set aside $10,000 for the last few years as we've been able to afford to do that. And I mean, just the list. I was amazed when I started making the list. The library, Givens Library, Village Heritage Foundation in the village. We've done a lot for the Sandhills Community College in their garden area. A number of the schools we've helped with small grassroots programs for even the elementary schools, and the high schools have started some gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Things like the gardens at the VFW Hall and Weymouth. We have done some projects to help fund some additional things at Weymouth. First Health Hospice, Memorial Gardens. We have a number of benches that we've donated there, and we've helped with new plantings and things like that. So.
Yeah.
We just have so many. The Moore County Coalition, you can jump right in there. There's just the list. I was amazed at the list, and we've kept that now so that we can see, and so our members can see, and others, how much we do give back besides the scholarships. And the scholarships are pretty meaningful. These are students we work with Sandhills Community College because they do the actual choosing, but we give them what our guidelines are. So they choose it's a 2-year program. They choose a second-year student, particularly because they want to make sure it's somebody who's really committed. It pays for everything that second year, their tuition, any materials or books. It even gives money for them to go on one trip so that they can look at a landscaping program or a garden program somewhere else in the country that they have never been able to visit. So it's amazing. And most of those students are non-traditional students. They're either coming back as a second career. Oftentimes they're stay-at-home moms that gave up their career aspirations to help the family.
Right.
And they have a love for horticulture, for landscaping, for gardening. Some of them are more design interested. Some of them are more golf course interested, all of these things. And we have them to our yearly May luncheon, and they, or the fall luncheon, I guess it is.
Yeah.
And they talk a little bit about themselves. And yesterday, the pilot ran a beautiful piece on 3 of them that we highlighted for what they give back to our community. One is the superintendent of the landscaping for the resort, young man who came up through the ranks. And so I hope people will see that, because I read that last night, and I brought tears to my eyes how meaningful these things were. They interviewed them to talk about that scholarship.
Yeah, in speaking to Sandra Applequist before the show, because she was instrumental in helping put all this together, she mentioned that there were a couple of recipients of some of the monies through scholarships for people who have stayed here and are still working here. So there's an organic feel to the organization, and then if people stay and carry on, it's got to be very rewarding. Pay it forward, yeah.
It really is. So we're really proud of that, and to be able to add an additional scholarship a couple of years ago, we had 26 years where we gave one scholarship, and that was over $160,000 in scholarship money. So
Wow.
it
Yeah,
adds
it's-
up. And the last 2 years, or 3 years, it's
So
been more.
tell me a little bit about Matt and the Greenhaven plant farm. How did you hook up with them? Because they seem to be also a very viable partner.
Yeah. I
I
honestly
think
don't
it
know.
was out of necessity because of how large the plant sale
Yeah,
became.
Yeah.
You know, you started with the pansies and the mums, and it just got bigger and bigger, and we outgrew the original, what the original nursery could supply. And I don't know who it was that searched out
Made
Matt
the
Whitaker.
connection.
That's
He-
before
but he is a
Sue.
local. He's you know
Yeah.
born and bred. I believe his father started the nursery. He started at Sand Hills Community College,
Okay.
but then quickly morphed over to North Carolina State, and that's where he got his horticultural biology undergraduate. So he particularly wanted to come back, and he does a lot for a different. We're the only big plant sale that he has at his, but he does a lot of pre-ordering for organizations. There are 17 other garden clubs in just under the Sand Hills Council of Gardens.
I did not know
And
that.
Oh,
that's not
yes.
all. I mean, they're just the ones that have joined the council so they can
Wow.
share information. But there's a lot of small ones and some
And little
good
private
size.
ones that you don't
Right.
even know
Neighborhoods
about.
have their own.
Neighborhoods have their own, and
Yeah.
but as a
true.
organized garden club, this is
But he believes in giving back, and that's what he hasn't. He certainly didn't have to go beyond the steps that he took to help us make this grow. And he's very invested in it, and we're proud of. And he's so proud of the plants that he
Yeah.
creates, and he guarantees them. If anybody has problems, we talk. We talk to him, and he makes it right, or he tells them what to do.
Yeah.
So
What long after the April 27th event, you still in the fall season, you're still working in these gardens as well. It's just not structured around a plant sale per se, but the autumn plantings are something you also do.
we do. So the organization meets from August through May. So we take the summer off, and but we come back
Yeah.
and kick it off in August and September with the planting of the fall annuals in early November or late October, mid-October maybe. And that's when we start to get busy.
Yeah. I talk to my two sisters who live on the Upper West Side in Manhattan, and I always tell them the seasons here are so long, the early spring, the late fall, that it's like a potpourri of color and art, much longer than the Northeast.
Yeah.
And it's a subculture that exists here, and you are all such an important part of it. If people want to find out more about the Garden Club, if they want to, where do they go? What kind of contact information do you want to provide, and especially for maybe volunteers?
Well, we have a wonderful new website that's taken hold in the last 18 months.
Yep.
It's the pinehurstgardenclub.org. And if you go to that website, there are several drop-down menus. Right now, we've got a big spread about the Pinehurst Garden Club plant sale and everything having to do with that. But it gives the history of our club. It gives you an opportunity if you have need of some of our funds. There's a place to apply for a grant. There's a member application attached to the website as well if you have interest in joining.
Oh, great.
So all of the information is on this website. So we welcome anybody to go check us out and see how much fun all the different branches have.
So now between now and the 27th of April is your pre-ordering period, so people
Correct.
can go online. You've given Linda
Quirick.
for information. They can call her at 910-603-8123 if they need have any questions to be answered. And your website is fairly intuitive, and it's inviting, and it's visually appealing, and it's soft on the eyes. It doesn't scream at you, right, like a lot of
Kinda like the
social media
flowers.
does. And so again, Sunday, the 27th of April, I hope you'll join the Pinehurst Garden Club between 9 and 3 p.m. at the Greenhaven Plant Farm. You'll all be there, I'm sure.
I know
believe
I'll
we
be
will.
there all day.
And just to go back to two questions, the branches that you have are based on the tree and the branches of a tree, correct? Not IBM.
No.
Correct. So we have 5 different branches. We have azalea, we have holly,
Yep.
pine,
Cute.
magnolia,
And dogwood.
and dogwood. And so
Appropriate.
That's
And
how
who knows?
the branches.
If this
we
keeps growing,
have enough,
we might have a camellia. one
That's
of these
right.
days.
You never know. If we get
If
an
we-
awful lot of new member inquiries, we might have to open another branch.
Well, the Pinehurst Garden Club may have a low profile, but hopefully through the show and through the new website, people will start to realize that wherever they look in the village, there are going to be evidence of your work. And I appreciate you coming on and talking and your passion. And I love the fact that you have used the Garden Club as a great networking vehicle as well, because that's what this community is all about, right?
Exactly right.
It sure is.
Wish
And
you
we'd
luck.
love to have him join, so have him give us a call.
Well, thank you. And the 27th is a day, just in a couple of weeks, so I wish you all the best of luck. And I hope we've covered everything.
I think we have, except I'm not sure you placed an order yet, Bill.
I'll be doing that and be giving it to my landscape person. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Terrific.
Thank you all.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.